Hi, welcome to the series Learn Excel in 24 hours. In this video, we'll actually use Excel to make a data spreadsheet. In this example, I am creating a data sheet to record monthly household expenses. In the first row, we'll put in data headers. Basically, the main data headers over here will be the date, expense categories like fruits, vegetables, cereals, newspapers, so on and so forth. Once all the data headers are in place, we'll actually start plugging in some values for expenses. Since expenses are currency related data, I modify the cell data type to currency and choose Indian rupee. It's a setting by default on this system. Depending on your country and currency, the data type can be changed. Now all expenses in this sheet are in Indian rupees. To save the pain of going through each and every cell to change the format, we can use the Format Painter option. In the Format Painter option, we go and select the format of a particular cell which is already in the form. In this case, it's already in the form Indian rupee, and click on the Format Painter button. You can see that the mouse pointer has a little brush attached to it. Just apply that brush to the target cell and it will have the same format as the source cell. I continue to plug in some data for different dates and categories. Once all the data has been plugged in for different dates, categories, etc., I want to introduce a totaling option. One totaling option that I want is total of expenses across all categories on a particular day. So I create an additional data header subtotal. Then I click on the auto sum button. Based on the data that is there in the cell, Excel tries to figure out the data that should be taken for the auto sum function, but you can see it has also missed out on some cells. To rectify that, I take the mouse and drag it across the row to ensure that all expense categories are covered. Once that is done, I can simply copy and paste this across multiple rows and the AutoSum function will be there. Now I repeat this totaling aspect in columns so that we get the total of expenses in the overall time period for a particular category. I still try to plug in some more data into the sheet. Now you can see that some cells have the currency format in rupees whilst others don't. We will fix that later. One option we saw was the Format Painter option. There's another way to do this. We'll see that a little later. Now we will try to make the data sheet more appealing visually. So I try to use some cell border options. So first, across the board, I use the simple thin borders in place. For subtotals, I want to have thick borders. So I use that option. And as far as subtotals are concerned, I also want the background to have some color. In this case, I've chosen the blue color. I do that for the subtotal horizontally as well as for the subtotal vertically. For the data headers that we created initially, I'm using a background color as gray. Next, I want to ensure that all data headers and subtotals are in bold. So I do the needful over there. Now, as I said, some cells have the currency option in place, the others don't. So what I do is I take and select all the data in between which relate to currency related data, and in one go I select the option as currency, and voila, all are now with the rupee symbol. In this case, we don't want those two decimals that are there. Those two decimals have come in by the default setting. We don't want that. So one way to remove that is by using the arrow key to the right, which shows, you have those zeros there and the arrow key is moving to the right. That is one way of getting rid of the decimals. The other way is to select the data cells where you want the decimals to be removed. Press Ctrl 1, go to the data type and reset the decimal requirement to 0. So you can try some permutations and combinations in this, and what I would encourage you to do to get a good hold on these different concepts is go through the video bit by bit, and then maybe pause in between, use some own examples of yours, and then continue. But do make sure that you practice with 2-3 different examples so that you get a fair grip on the different permutations of combinations in terms of format painter, in terms of data type, etc. Thank you.